Yeah, so my name is Cruse. I'm a network security architect with Lake Trust Credit Union. Probably about 4 years now. Yeah, so basically we use Umbrella to front end all of our DNS requests, and that way they protect any of our end users from going to any kind of malicious site. It doesn't matter if they're in-house on one of our locations or if they're remote working from home. And that was the biggest part, was the fact that we could protect our end users even when they're not in the office. We were actually trying to solve other challenges, which was basically just to protect the in-site. But once COVID hit, it pretty much made it a very easy transition for us. Where at one point, because when COVID was at its highest peak, we basically had everyone working remote. And we didn't have to worry about, how are we going to restrict their access on the internet, because Umbrella was already handling that for us. I would think both monitoring the activity so that we can investigate anything that may pop up, and the ability to kind of restrict the access or filter out what content actually end users can view or go to, and the fact that it blocks them from any known malicious locations. It made us more secure, which is a very important thing for a financial institution. I think it works really well. The best part about it is the fact that it's transparent to the users until they try to, go somewhere that's either restricted because of content or restricted because of the fact that it's malicious. And then they simply get a pop-up, and that's all there is to it. So from their perspective, it's very easy. They don't have to do anything in order for it to work. And that's exactly it. I mean, that was the biggest thing, is that it protects our users, whether they're in the office or they're out of the office. We get the same policy in both locations. We can assign policy based on individual group membership, and it travels with them no matter where they go. So it helps no matter where they are. There is a single portal that we go to that handles for both being able to set up policy, to look at activity, or even to manually add sites that we think that we want to restrict, even if it's not considered, a particular category or a particular malware. Very important. We have a very, very small team. We can't spend a lot of time going from product to product to product to try to be able to, either investigate or set up policy. We need to have one place that we can go to and set everything up. That's really easy. It's just, it's an easy portal to go to. It's cloud-based, so we can get to it from anywhere. The ability to set up the policy is pretty straightforward. And there's a lot of tie-ins with other products like SecureX and other things that make it just as easy. With the solution itself, it's cloud-based. So as long as you can get to the cloud, you're golden. So since it's based on user DNS requests, it's right from the endpoint all the way through the network to be able to identify those locations and restrict access if necessary. And again, it's not just the malware sites, which is also very important, but it's also just content in general, right? There are business reasons for restricting access to certain content. Umbrella was actually first. Once we discovered that was a big hole we had, right? We didn't have anything that was controlling content for our end users, which are our internal end users. And this could run into problems with regulation. It could run into problems with compliance. It could run into issues with HR as well as security issues associated with malware. We knew it was a hole we were missing. And so Umbrella basically filled that hole for us. Yeah, I would say that, since we implemented Umbrella, we are seeing a fairly significant amount of threats being blocked. And I would say probably a good, on average, I would say 20% possibly of all the activity that we see is actually being blocked by Umbrella because of it's either violating policy or it's some kind of malware. I think it's good. I think that anytime the employees understand that we're doing something from a technology standpoint to more secure the organization, that makes them happy. It's something that they don't have to concern themselves with as much. And so I think it improves morale quite a bit. Oh, it's extremely important. We're a financial institution, so cybersecurity is very, very high on our organizational goals all the time, and making sure that cybersecurity is resilient against any of the latest attacks that are coming out is extremely important, and it's a constant thing, right? Cyber attacks are increasing every single year. The methods that are being used are increasing every single year. If something was to happen, not only would we have a financial impact, we'd have a reputational impact, which from a financial institution, a reputational impact could be just as devastating as a financial one. So Umbrella basically helps us with that overall security, right? It gives one less attack vector for the bad guys to get into, right? So we're protecting those end user devices. We're protecting those end users from going to places that could be malicious. And the fact that it's doing that to those end users increases our overall security without us having to rely specifically on end user education in that particular attack vector. The only thing I can think of is that I'd like to see a little more flexibility on policy creation. The way the policy is currently structured is kind of like a first hit succeeds kind of policy. And it'd be nice if it's more hierarchical. I would say that what is necessary is to do as much security in depth as you can. And that includes, using Umbrella to protect your users and using lots of other security products to be able to secure every aspect of your organization. We looked around to see what was available. There was a lot of content filtering solutions available. But one of the things that Umbrella brings in addition to content filtering is that awareness of known threat sites, and they're tying with Talos, and Talos being that organization that basically does all that research and feeds that into Umbrella, so that we not only have known malware sites from 6 months ago, we're getting feeds from Talos within hours. Its value exceeds its pricing, if that helps. I think we got our return on investment probably within the first month of its use, just because of the increased security that we had in the organization. And I think the ability to have a product that was protecting our end users without us having to go through the process of, we do educate our end users today, but I think Umbrella doesn't require us to go through as in-depth education process to say, okay, you're going to have to do the research. You're going to have to figure out what sites are bad. You're going to have to figure out where not to go. We don't have to do any of that. That's all handled by Umbrella. We just need to let them know that, we're protecting you on the back end side. There was two pieces of deployment. One was the cloud deployment, which basically gets us set up in the cloud to begin with. And then we also have gateways that were installed on-prem in-house. And I think we were able to get the gateways up and running in maybe an hour. The cloud deployment was all done by the umbrella organization, the back-end side. To deploy to the end users, all we need to do is set up a policy that said, this is what you use for DNS. Once that was set up, we're done. And then deploying that was done in group policy. Group policy was pushed in a matter of minutes. So I would say the entire solution was probably deployed in just a few hours. No, we did it all ourselves. I mean, Cisco handled the back-end side with the portal itself, but the rest of it, we did ourselves. It's very good. There's a way to actually contact them directly from within the portal, and we use that periodically. I give them about a 9. I mean, there are issues with Cisco's type support, and so it's just like all the rest of them. It's been extremely stable. In the last 4 years, I do not recall a single outage in 4 years. There has been nothing that I can think of that actually affected our performance of the system at all in the last 4 years. We've never had an issue with scale. I mean, we've scaled it up to every user that we have in-house. We had, when we deployed the gateways, we deployed 2 for HA purposes, but I mean, from a scale perspective, it's DNS queries. It doesn't take much. Our whole organization's on it. Absolutely a 10. It's literally, it's a lifesaver from being able to protect our endpoints.